Hi, I'm Liv and welcome back to the Book Nook. Hey guys, long time no see yet again. How many times do I say that at the top of the video? Pretty much every video. That's how it's been for the last little while. So my last video was at the end of November and I was fully intending to make one in December, and then I was fully intending to make one in January. But if I thought December was busy because Christmas and retail and what have you, January, whoo boy, has disabused me of any notions of what busy really is. It's all a very good busy though, and it's all very exciting. But basically I now have 3 jobs, 2 training courses, one of which I'm delivering part of, and I am on day 12 of giving up smoking, so everything is hunky fucking dory. No, but seriously, everything is really fun and really exciting, apart from the giving up smoking thing. That's not fun. Some people had said to me that around day 10 was the hardest, but I struggle the most with day 4, 5, because the insomnia was real, and then when you're really tired and you're really grumpy and all you want is a cigarette, but that's the one thing you can't have, the rage was real. So that's what I've been up to, and I'll be honest with you, I've kind of sat down to film this a few times and yet again got in my head about doing it. It got in my head about lighting and camera and all of this shenanigans that doesn't really matter, because actually what I enjoy doing is talking about books, and that's just what I'm kind of going to break it down to. I know we're in February now and there is late to the party, and then there is so late you might as well have not shown up at all, but I'm going to run through briefly my kind of books of the year 2021. Ended up going through what was, quite frankly, more than faintly ridiculous a process with these books of 2021. So first of all, I kind of picked a handful of books that I remembered reading in 2021 and loving, and most of them were quite recent ones, with the exception of Piranesi, which was the first book I read in 2021, and it stuck with me. But then I kind of started going through my list of books that I'd read in 2021 and going, oh shit, I'd forgotten I'd read this one, or I'd forgotten I'd read that one, and I remember really loving that one. I didn't realise that was this year. 2021 felt like 5 years long. And I don't know whether it was that side of things that stopped me from remembering some of these books, or whether my brain just has finite book space now and I can't remember all of the books that I love. So then I kind of ended up getting to this weird space, which is totally normal, right guys, where I started feeling guilty for not remembering books, and feeling bad for not remembering particular books, and thinking, oh, well, if I've remembered that one, why haven't I remembered this one? And thinking, well, if I put this one on my best books of 2021, then I have to do this one. But if I do that one, then I can't do this one. And some of these are kind of similar, and maybe I should just do this one. And then I kind of talked myself into a whole hole and ran away. All totally normal behaviour when thinking about your favourite books of the year, right? Right? So like, I've still got 2 stacks of 10 books sat here, and don't worry, I'm not going to go through 20 books because this has already taken far too long and nobody's got time for that. Basically, I think what it boils down to is the fact that I fucking love books and I love talking about books, so actually trying to narrow it down to 10 books from the year that I loved and want to talk about actually was harder than I thought. But here goes nothing, my 10 books of 2021. I'm going to go through them in size order, size this way, not size this way, and that's the only order because they're on a nice stack like that. So first up, in no particular order, is Musa Okwongo's In the End, It Was All About Love. This one was just absolutely beautiful, and it's one that has stayed with me. Kind of the feeling and the emotions and the atmosphere of this book have just floated across my strange little brain many a time since I read it. It's about love, it's about masculinity, it's about race, it's about belonging, it's about family, it's about knowing who you are and where you fit in, and it is just absolutely beautiful to read. It is also a beautiful book as an object, so well done, Rough Trade Books. Next up is a book that was definitely one of the easiest to go on this list, and that is Legend Born by Tracy Dion. If you had told me this time last year that my probably most recommended book in working in the bookshop, or the book that I've talked about the most throughout the year, would have been a YA book, nobody would have been more surprised than me, quite frankly. But I just absolutely loved this book. I think I raved about it in a video, or if I didn't, I've certainly raved about it in my own life, but it's essentially just a brilliant book about a young black woman in America who goes to college and finds out all this kind of secret college societies to do with Arthurian legend, and it's dealing with her kind of magic and her heritage, and it's just absolutely amazing. Even if you don't think you like YA, and I have recommended this to quite a few people in the bookshop who don't think they like YA but like kind of fantasy, and they've come back and they've loved this, so I know this is a tried and tested approach. Basically, just fucking read it, it's brilliant. Next up is one that did slightly fall under the conflicted as to whether it would appear on this list or not, but it is The Lies Dictionary by Ellie Williams, and it was only a conflicted about whether it should be on this list because I know that I didn't have the best start with this book, and it took me so long to get into it that I thought, can it really be a book of 2021 if I struggled that much to get into it? But fuck yes it can, because once I did get into it, I just absolutely loved it. And again, much like Musa Okwongo's book and much like a couple of the others, bits of this book have kind of just randomly, unbidden, come into my brain over the last 12 months, or however many months since I read it, I can't remember, but basically absolutely loved it. It plays with language, it plays with form, it plays with narrative, and the characters are also just really lovely, and I love them, and I thoroughly recommend this. You guys know how much I loved Ellie Williams' Out Trip and Other Stories, so it's not really a total surprise that I love this one so much. I actually realise now I've done this in one breath. Wow, day 12 and giving up smoking really has improved lung function. I don't feel like I'm going to pass out after doing that in one breath. Next up is the other book that I've probably spoken most about in the bookshop, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. It was so unexpected how much I loved this one. What I keep saying about this book, and it's kind of become almost like my go-to spiel about it, is that it was the first book I read in 2021 and nothing really kind of hit me in the same way. Nothing quite hit those heights. There have been other books that I've loved, other ones on this list, but actually there is something about this book that the feeling it gives me when I think about it is just captivating and magical. Next up is Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Engels. This is one of Faber's rediscovered classics. I'm very, very excited about the rest, particularly They by Kay Dick, which is coming out very soon. This was just such a surprise to me, such a surprising little gem that did so much in so little, and the fact that it was written however long ago but felt so now, it felt so timeless. It was just really interesting, really fun, said a lot, and thoroughly entertaining. So go read it, it won't take you long. Next up, Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. I was so excited when this won the Costa Debut Novel Award, and I'm really hopeful that when it's out in paperback any day now, lots more people are going to read it. The writing is just so beautiful and lyrical, it's such a deft touch, it's so moving. I thoroughly recommend you read this book. Next up, arguably not a book, more of a pamphlet, but sure, The Least We Can Do by Josh Cook. This is White Supremacy, Free Speech and Independent Bookstores. This is an incredibly important pamphlet for anybody who works with books, works with literature, works in any kind of creative industry. I know I've said this before in one of my videos about this one. I just found this so energizing and so accurate and so bold and vital that I can't stop thinking about it, basically. Another one that I can't stop thinking about, and you probably will not be surprised to see this on this list, and that is Little Scratch by Rebecca Watson. I will, of course, because I am a completist little arsehole, be getting myself a copy of the new edition with the new cover, because that's just who I am as a person. You guys know from one of my previous videos just how much I loved this book. The playing with form, the playing with narrative, the marrying of form and narrative as reflecting the brain and the way that thoughts work and the way that you speak and the way that when your mind has gone through a trauma, the way you can be having one conversation and thinking about something totally different. It was just absolutely incredible, a stunning piece of work, of art, just of emotion. It's just, for me, even though I work with books and talk about books all the time, I know that I have really loved a book and that it has meant something to me on some other level when I actually can't talk about it properly. And that's this book for me. Next up is one of the books that I was probably most excited about for 2021, and then even when it came out, I just took a while to get around to it, and that is Nina Simone's Gum by Warren Ellis. Because I've probably talked more in the last half an hour than I have for a couple of days now, and I'm not so good with the words, I can't really explain what this book is about so much, other than Warren Ellis coming into possession of a piece of Nina Simone's chewing gum, and what happened, how that happened, what happened next, what happened with the gum, and this book and the whole reading experience just became this kind of ode to memory and idols and this kind of artistic experience, and it just captivated me and was just beautiful and transportative. That's not a word. Transportational, that's closer. It transported me and it was beautiful and it took me along with it, and I thoroughly recommend it. Last but not least is a book that I had actually, in all honesty, forgotten I had read this year because of the whole how long was 2021 thing, but that is Sister Song by Lucy Holland, and this is on this list because it again has stayed in my mind all throughout the year. Character interactions, moments, bits of the mythology, bits of the writing have just stayed in my little brain, floating around my noggin, popping up whenever they want, and yeah, to me that's a sign of loving a book. It's a historical novel, which isn't normally my thing, but it's steeped in kind of local history, quite local history, that is so far enough back that it's kind of Norse adjacent, which obviously hooked me, but it is just beautiful in its own right, and the characters are really absorbing, and it deals with things that are quite clearly issues that we have been dealing with as humanity for thousands of years. It's not a new phenomenon, but it's just really, brain, okay, we've given up, have we, brain? Okay. It's just a bloody good read, and I think the paperback's coming out in a couple of months, and I really recommend you get this book, because I loved it. Okay, well I haven't lifted a stack of books up on my shoulder for a long time, so let's see how this goes, shall we? So there we have my 10 favourite books from 2021. As I say, thoroughly late to the party, but I hope at least somebody's still here, and maybe glad I showed up. Hello? So that's been me waffling on about some books again, which I haven't done for a little while, so that's been quite nice. Hope you enjoyed it. I now need to go and feed the cat. Being really clingy lately. I don't know whether it's the cold weather, but I'm not complaining. The future of me on BookTube probably looks mostly like this, just the occasional video every once in a blue moon, but I enjoy it when I do it, and I hope you guys too. What to do. It's such a to-do. As per the usual, have a little chat with me in the comments down below. Have you read any of those books in 2021 or in January 2022? Have you enjoyed them? Have you hated them? Maybe don't tell me if you hated them. Don't sully my joy. You right there? What? Tell me about your books of the year. I am intrigued to know. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.